relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Welcome back from the break. So reflections for this morning. I am going to walk a very dangerous and a very sensitive path this morning. It's a path that I know in this part of the world we shy away from, we decide not to discuss. In fact, it's one of the things that we like to sweep under the carpet and clothe it with all sorts of religious beliefs and social boundaries. But today I would want to open this discussion. I would want to start this discussion, and today I'm speaking on the stigma that comes with the issue of childlessness, the stigma that comes with it. And today I would want us to look beyond the ordinary, look beyond how we have seen it over the period, and discuss it beyond the normal. Now, childlessness in our society has become a public burden that weighs heavily on couples. A man and a woman who are together for years that have not been able to conceive. It's become a heavy burden on these couples across the length and breadth of this country, of the continent, and the globe. Now, marriage and procreation have become intertwined. The expectation has always been that once you get married, the next thing is that you are having children. In fact, in most of wedding ceremonies that you witness, you notice that even the pastors or the people officiating, the key message in all of their prayers and all of the sermons, it's about procreation. And that puts that burden on the young or old couple, irrespective of the age that they get married. And so children are seen as a blessing, at the same time seen as a continuation of a lineage, and also a source of social security. And so when couples struggle to conceive, the impact becomes far-reaching. In their churches, in the mosque, at work, their business location, in families, it becomes a far-reaching issue, psychologically, socially, and emotionally. Research reveals that the devastating, should I call it psychological, or let's call it psychosocial effects of childlessness is grave. Women are often unfairly blamed, facing ridicule, pressure, and sometimes even divorce threats. Men too suffer in silence, simply because they are supposed to be the heavy and the strong ones. And so they suffer in silence, hide behind masculinity so that that masculinity would not be questioned. The mental health toll is profound. It strains relationships, it causes isolation, and it brings a lot of stress. Social gatherings become painful reminders of what they lack, especially when their mates keep inviting them to visit or come for naming ceremonies, or they keep going to visit people or friends with children. It becomes a constant reminder of what they lack. It erodes intimacy in homes and breaks away trust. This stigma, it exacerbates the pain with childlessness. Sometimes society views it as a curse, and sometimes we view it as a spiritual failing, and all sorts of things are done. Couples face gossip and discrimination rather than compassion. Families even call people by the names of their children. Kofi Mami, Hadra Papa, which means if you do not have a child, then it is a constant reminder when there are family gatherings and other siblings are being called. Experts now recognize childlessness as a public health issue, and it's affecting mental well-being, affecting family stability and social harmony. I want to extend it even to work spaces, and it's something that in this part of our world we joke with. In an office, once a female colleague gets married and after some weeks or months she starts wearing flat shoes, all the men start making fun. So you've done it. In 3 days say so, but you have no idea what the person is struggling with. You have no idea what the partners have agreed amongst themselves to do. But it becomes your expectation, and everybody looks at you and tells you the next day, you'll be going on maternity leave in the next few days. You'll be going on maternity leave in the next few days, forgetting what the person is battling, not sensitive enough to the emotions of these people. It's something we need to pay attention to. People are battling issues by themselves. Couples are struggling, seeking a lot of help. The least society can do is not to put extra pressure on these people. To address the issue of childlessness, we must start by normalizing conversations about infertility. It should not be a no discussion topic. Let's open, let's talk. Let's accept it to be an issue and let's discuss it. The truth is that medical science shows that infertility can affect both men and women equally. It's not a moral failure. Let's move away from it's because of how you lived your life in the past, that's how come you are struggling. Those issues can be there, but majority of the case, it's not because of what it is. Some are just medical conditions. Some are because of their physio setup. Let's remember that it's not a moral failure. It's a time for religious leaders, churches, mosques, traditional leaders, for authorities, the media. It's time for us to pick up this discussion and reshape the narrative from blame to empathy. Let's move away from blaming innocent young ladies or young men, and let's move to empathy. Couples need structured support, including counseling services, mental health care, and access to affordable fertility treatment. Remember, you cannot care more for the couple who are married for 10 years or beyond and do not have a child. You cannot care more for them than they do for themselves. So if you know a discussion that they've brought to your doorstep, don't start it with them. Support groups can also provide a safe space for couples to share their experiences without fear or judgment. To address this issue, we must start normalizing the conversation. Don't leave it as it is. Normalize the conversation. Medical science has said it. Infertility is both in men and women. So, today I'm challenging all of us. I'm looking into your face this morning, or whatever time that you chance upon this video, that childlessness is not a moral failure. Do not treat or malign people because of their inability to conceive. Do not put pressure unduly on people because you have a timeline for them that you expect that they should deliver within that period. Life is in stages. Human bodies react differently. People's makeup are different. And so let's focus on what is important. If you can support, support. But support with empathy and not with condemnation. Let not couples struggling be living in fear and in shame and want to isolate themselves from society. It brings depression. It brings depression. And it causes them to be in a state that does not help. Remember, marriage is not only for reproduction or procreation. Partnership and companionship is key. And so I'm speaking to the couples out there, the husband and the wife. Companionship is key. Partnership is key. Your husband or your wife needs you most around this time. Don't just make it all about reproduction. That is not to say it is not good, it is. But that is not all that there is to marriage. This is reflection this morning, and I believe that I have fairly opened this Pandora's box, and across we would have this discussion with meaning. I'll be right back after this break.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
John, why are you still suffering from mosquito wahala? Haven't you heard of MedShare organic mosquito repellent?
MedShare is safe for all skin type and age. No side effects, no chemical. Get protected with MedShare.
MedShare is FDA approved and is highly recommended by the Ministry of Health, tested by Noguchi Memorial Institute Medical Research.
MedShare keeps me and my baby safe from mosquitoes bite.
With MedShare on my side, no more mosquitoes bite, no more malaria. Get MedShare today.
Contact us on the numbers on your screen.
MedShare is available nationwide. This advert is approved by FDA.
Meet Kwame. He's not just any Kwame. He's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is asking all to respond to this civic obligation and pay your TV license fee. For individuals, it's 3 CDs per month or 36 CDs per year. If you have multiple sets, meaning 2 or more in your household, it's 60 CDs per year. For commercial institutions, it's your number of TV sets by 36 CDs per year, and you pay the invoiced amount directly to GBC. So let's all take a moment to appreciate Kwame, the TV license legend. Wherever you are, just dial *447 *333# and follow the prompt. It's your civic duty, so pay your TV license today. GBC, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana.
John, why are you still suffering from mosquito wahala? Haven't you heard of MedShare organic mosquito repellent?
MedShare is safe for all skin type and age. No side effects, no chemical. Get protected with MedShare.
MedShare is FDA approved and is highly recommended by the Ministry of Health, tested by Noguchi Memorial Institute Medical Research.
MedShare keeps me and my baby safe from mosquitoes' bite.
With MedShare on my side, no more mosquitoes bite, no more malaria. Get MedShare today.
Contact us on the numbers on your screen.
MedShare is available nationwide. This advert is approved by FDA.
Meet Kwame. He's not just any Kwame. He's Kwame the TV license legend. Kwame knows that by paying his TV license, he's supporting GBC, our public service broadcaster, and he's making a real difference. Kwame's contribution helps bring our communities closer together. Because of Kwame and others like him, we will all have access to amazing TV programs, educational content, plus broadcasting infrastructures are maintained and our culture is beautifully promoted. So GBC is asking all to respond to this civic obligation and pay your TV license fee. For individuals, it's 3 CDs per month or 36 CDs per year. If you have multiple sets, meaning 2 or more in your household, it's 60 CDs per year. For commercial institutions, it's your number of TV sets by 36 CDs per year, and you pay the invoiced amount directly to GBC. So let's all take a moment to appreciate Kwame, the TV license legend. Wherever you are, just dial *447*333# and follow the prompt. It's your civic duty, so pay your TV license today. GBC, the authentic.
From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries, we have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Well, welcome back to Current Agenda. We are live on GBC News and on GTV, and also live on Radio Ghana. You can reach us via WhatsApp on 053-110-1315, 053-110-1315. Share, bring in your contributions, your opinion on the reflection on the topics that we will discuss. You can also visit our social media handles, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation or GTV, and then follow and then put in your comments, and we'll do well to read them during the program. Right. So before I go into the topic for today, or the first topic for today, I would want to introduce my guest. Today I have a packed house. So it's going to be an interesting discussion, and I would advise that you do not get up from your TV set even for a second. Right. So I have in studio with me Dr. KWABENA BOMFEH. Dr. KWABENA BOMFEH, popularly known as, in fact, I call him Dr. Kabila. He's a lecturer at the UPSA and also the CEO for CenCES. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll be calling Dr. Kabila, so forgive me. Right. And then next to Doc is a known face for the set, Austin, BRAKO-POWERS, a private legal practitioner.
Yeah.
Last week we missed you.
Last week, I think our viewers must forgive me. I was just engaged. But today we promise a
do justice.
Yeah, we do a good show.
Then next to him is another brother and known face, KWAME OWUSU DANSO Esquire. His Excellency KWAME OWUSU DANSO, President of Accountability.
Last week you didn't want to add the rest of my names. You only said KWAME. When you are mentioning
my name, it's like every week you want to throw me.
When you are mentioning my name, you must complete it.
So this is not mentioning your name.
Full compliment. OWUSU DANSO.
Which one do I have? Which one again don't I have?
Esquire.
Thank you very much. Right. Thank you. And also with us is Honorable Michael Ochre BAAFI. He's the MP for New Juaben South, and then also the former Deputy Trade Minister. Honorable, good morning. I hope you're good.
Very well. Right, I'm also the ranking member of the trade.
Okay. Right. Today everybody is adding up what I have missed.
Because
KWAME has given the keys. Right. So we're also expecting the MP for Bongo. As once he comes, we would also introduce him, and then also we'll be joined virtually by Richard KUMADOE. Also, so once he also joins us, we will introduce him. So let's start with the issue of the petition to remove the Electoral Commissioner and her deputies, and also the Special Prosecutor. So let's walk through how it all started. We'll do a bit of infographics to show the petition that was received, and then how it all played out. So we'll show on our screen in a minute. There was a formal petition in January which was submitted to the office of the presidency, and it outlined several grounds seeking to remove the Electoral Commissioner and her deputies. The first issue had to do with financial loss to the state. The petitioner or the petitions made a claim that there had been some procurement of new biometric voter devices and in the process of compiling a new voters register before the 2020 general elections. It had resulted in some significant financial loss. And so that was one of the bases for arguing and asking for the removal of the EC chair and her deputies. Then there was also the issue of the creation of a constitutional crisis, where it was said that the leadership of the Electoral Commission ignored advice from civil society, from traditional leaders, from religious organizations and political parties, and on a decision that would give mandate during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. So whether we were supposed to do a new voter registration exercise during that period or not. And they say that endangered public health and contributed to broader governance tensions. Then also there was an issue of misconduct and abuse of office. The petition alleged gross incompetence, bias, procurement breaches, and poor corporate governance. They asserted that these acts undermined the free, fair, and transparent expectation of elections. In total, there were 10 petitions that were received, and the president forwarded them to the Chief Justice to figure out whether a Prima Facie can be established for the necessary processes to originate. Within the week, we got information that there was no Prima Facie established, and for that reason, the petitions to remove these people, the chairperson and her deputies, would not be, for want of a better term, honored. Then also there was a petition for the special prosecutor as well. But in the EC case, it was explained that the whole talks about it weakening public trust and all those things. Nothing was able to be established. So we are going to discuss this issue, what the petitions stood to or sought to do, and then the feedback we received from the office of the presidency. So I'll start with Dr. BOMFEH. Sidia, I'm sure when these petitions were circulating in the social media space, on traditional media, you saw it, and definitely I'm sure you would have expressed an opinion. This outcome, was this what you expected, or you think justice has really not been served?
Let's say good morning to our viewers, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's not so much what my expectations were or not, as it is about how faithful and fidel we've been to the constitutional process as required by law, and also as exemplified by case law or precedent as we understand them. I want to begin by establishing that when we talk about the Electoral Commission, the erroneous impression that it is the chairperson of the commission who constitutes or who make up the Electoral Commission must be corrected. It is a 7-member commission, and this is the first time within the history of our country that we had more than one person serving as the commission on the Electoral Commission. Right from independence, and even before that, it had always been almost something like a sole commissioner. In the evolution of the Fourth Republican Dispensation, the framers thought it wise that we should have more than one person. So if you go to Article 43, 44, 45 and 46, in fact I think it's 44 particularly, it establishes a 7-member commission, 3 executive heads and 4 other members, with their terms of office and conditions of office tied to certain office holders that put them under subject to removal or subject to being discussed under Article 146. So that said, it was a bit misleading that anybody would take the decision of a commission and limit it to 1 or 2 members of the commission and want to deal with them or get them removed, like we have seen done in the instance of a Supreme Court decision, and one panel member, one judge sitting on that panel, isolated and dealt with. But that is another matter for another day. I think it is most unfair, it is most inappropriate and not faithful to the Constitution. So that is it. Now let's come to really what has gone on. I don't think it is appropriate to suggest that the president cleared anybody. No. Neither is it right to say that the Chief Justice cleared anyone. Properly so speaking, I think what has happened is the petitions failing to meet the Article 146 minimum threshold of establishing a Prima Facie. That is simplicity. That is simply what it is. It is not anybody clearing anybody. It is those who petitioned and thought that whatever they had as issues with the commission, limiting it to some members discriminatory, some members of the commission, failing to show that indeed there were questions to answer beyond their thinking, their speculations, and their feelings. And this is what Justice Dateba in the celebrated case of Ajechu, in filling the gap that appeared to exist in exercising Article 146, which gives the president a very limited entry into the ambit of the judiciary. In fact, very limited, that it must be entered or exercised solemnly because it has grievous and grievous consequences. So, what was it? Ajechu made it clear that it is not any claim that can be taken as constituting grounds to remove someone subject to Article 146 from office, and that it must meet a certain minimum threshold. And went ahead to say that, look, it is not just for you to come and conjecture and then we take it like that. So what are they? Stated misbehavior, incapacity or inability to perform on health grounds. And this can only be done when we know the duties and the responsibilities of the office. Which of them did the complained offense breach? So it is possible that you can say all the bad things about the Electoral Commission. You can say all of them. And yet none of them will constitute a basis or a grounds for the removal from office. And I think that is where I am comforted that justice has been done in this case. I looked at what was parading in the media space because the petitions themselves, apart from what was leaked in the media, what was considered before the president and what went before the Chief Justice. We don't know in fact, but we do know what was discussed in the media. Unfortunately for us, Kojo, the presidency issued a statement to one of the petitioners stating why the petition was dismissed. And I said, we thank God that the presidency is very much aware of this arduous task and that it has been complied with in this instance. There's a case I am involved in at the Supreme Court, and I found this as very material to the course of our case. What I will say is this in conclusion on this matter: we cannot run a republic and a constitutional dispensation and pick and choose which laws to obey, when and how convenient it is to us. Fidelity to the law is the burden of democracy. And that, in the words of Hubert Humphrey, the law can be no better than the people who are called upon to obey or to administer it. The law is as good as us, and how righteous we hold it and how dear we hold it. We have some of the issues that are raised that can be dealt with. And let's make this clear, that commissioners are not above accountability. The chairperson is tied to the office of an appeals court judge. The 2 deputies are tied to the office of a high court judge. And the 4 others, this is a convention that was, a constitutional deduction that was made. The 4 others, it is not mentioned, but we could say that they are circuit court judges. So the removal processes for any of these officers, as enshrined in Article 146, is what I think was followed. I am particularly happy that the Chief Justice, putting the evidence that had been brought before him, or the petitions that had been brought before him, and giving the commissioners in question the opportunity to respond, came to the conclusion that there was no further question to answer. And so it would be strange that this same principle could be denied not too long ago, when responses were given to a certain petition, clearing all the issues and any ambiguity whatsoever, and yet we went ahead to do what we did. But as I said, there are questions before the Supreme Court, and because I am a party to one of the suits, I'll wait for that determination, and I pray that all of us in this country will operate in the spirit of love, unity, and the sense of purpose that the Constitution in the preamble invites us to, in the name of Almighty God. We, the people, it invokes the cross, at the center of which is love, love unblemished. Thank you.
The way Kwame was looking at you with admiration as you were ending, it's interesting. Kwame, I'll come to you, but just to read a portion of the letter you mentioned, the one the president has responded to one of the petitions. One of the parts says that while the allegation raised serious constitutional and administrative questions, they do not on their face meet the threshold required for a prima facie determination of stated misbehavior or incompetence warranting a committee to be set up to inquire into the petition. The petition largely rests on conclusions of unlawfulness and bad faith without establishing at a preliminary level clear facts demonstrating intentional wrongdoing or a manifest inability to perform constitutional function. If even the Commission's actions or inactions are assumed to be erroneous, controversial, or suboptimal, such shortcomings do not automatically translate into stated misbehavior or incompetence with the constitutional sense. So this, the lawyers will say, was the ratio used by the used to technically dismiss.
We don't know the report. We haven't yet seen the report from the Chief Justice to the President.
Right.
But gleaning from what the Presidency has issued, we can understand what informed this letter. That
okay, but it says here that the Chief Justice letter states as follows, and it's in quotation.
That's right.
So once it's in quotation, it's only fair to assume this is what the Chief Justice
relied on.
Yes. Now, Kwame. Yeah. I remember in previous weeks when this issue came up, your point was one, that you prayed the president to not end up dismissing these people because it will set a certain precedence that you think would not be good for our democracy. I'm sure you are extremely happy, or you were happy when you heard this.
I still stand by the initial position I held. Particularly because for the forward march of this country, it is important that we protect independent state institutions. That has always been my position, and I'm not going to move away from that position. But in doing so, it is also very important that for the purposes of advancing our jurisprudence, we try to understand the reasoning behind certain decisions so that it will guide us and inform us going into the future. Now, I am very happy that you read portions of the letter attributable to the Chief Justice, that the basis for dismissing, if you like, the petitions is that they didn't find any merit, that on the face of the petitions forwarded to the President, they didn't find any presumption that the EC boss, together with the deputies and the special prosecutor, had conducted themselves in a manner which is at variance with what is contained in Article 146. So then it leaves more questions in my mind than answers. And these questions are very, very simple. What is a threshold? What was used in determining whether Article 146 was met or it wasn't met? It is important because if you read the Constitution, it indicates that persons of the stature of the EC or Justice of the Superior Court will be removed for stated misconduct, incompetence, and inability to perform a duty by reason of infirmity of mind or body. What is it that defines what incompetence is in the eyes of the Chief Justice? What is it? Because the Constitution does not define what it is. The Constitution similarly does not define on the face of it what stated misconduct is. So how can we then sit here and conjecture what stated misconduct is? So then it brings into question what was going through the mind of CJ when he was reviewing the evidence before him, which evidence to him did not carry the probative value that would allow for the Chief Justice to set up a committee for the purpose of investigating the matter. It's a question for all of us to answer.
It's fair.
In any event, in the same write-up, and I like how you reminded my senior that portions of it was quoted, referencing what the CJ had said.
Yes.
And the CJ demonstrated an admission which, in my estimation, goes to the heart of the performance or otherwise of the duties of the EC. And I wrote it. Says that, albeit that there is some constitutional or administrative issues, it does not raise serious concerns, according to him, that the threshold, was violated. So, are you now telling me that if a matter raises constitutional issues, it is not grave? Because at the heart of everything that we are doing in this country, at the heart of it, is your fidelity to the Constitution. So if there are issues raised about your fidelity to the Constitution, it is a serious matter. Also, you have been given a duty to perform. That duty is administrative. So if questions are asked or if issues are raised relative to how you are able to conduct yourself administratively, that is a matter that cannot be dealt with fleetingly. So those are the issues that I have. That going forward, if we want to expand the argument relative to Article 146, we must be intentional about explaining what constitutes, first of all, incompetence, what constitutes stated misconduct, and then the last one, for the last one, we know what it is. But even that one, we need to explain it. Because it's not enough that you say that, even though it raises constitutional and administrative issues, on the face of it, you don't find anything wrong with it. Now, I was researching while I was seated here, while I was listening to my senior. You see, the issue of Prima Facie is a preliminary legal, standard used to determine whether somebody has a question to answer or a case to answer. Do you understand? So we must know what evidence, first of all, was put before the Chief Justice. What mechanisms did he use in interrogating the evidence before him, for which reason he arrived at the decision that he did. So it is very, very important. But also, in my readings, I came across what may potentially constitute what maybe stated misconduct or incompetence may be. But I think that even in the letter that was written, that the CJ says that he did not find intentional wrongdoing. What is intentional wrongdoing? Because if the people talk about an administrative lapse, how do you determine whether that administrative lapse was not intentional? How do you determine that? Even in law, even the devil does not know the intention of man. So how did you come to that conclusion that their failures were not as a result of deliberateness on the part of the EC and their colleagues? How did you arrive at that conclusion? Then he talks about the second one, manifestly inability to perform constitutional functions. Because the issue of SAL was raised. I mean, there are several things that the EC has done, which in my view should have warranted the removal of the EC and the deputies. Albeit that I agree that even though on the face of it, the EC may have, violated some portions of the Constitution, I'm saying that for the purposes of advancing democracy and strengthening our democracy, that the decision should not be about removal. The decision perhaps should be about strengthening the institution and making sure that the independence of the EC will not be put to question. Because it is clear, it is evidently manifest that the deputies, at the very least, Bossman Asare, on many occasions, opined unequivocally and unrepentantly that he was against another political party. That to him, the other political party was immaterial to the democratic experiment that we are involved in. And on the basis of that, you could not reasonably expect that he would not be biased towards that political party that he describes as inimical or injurious to the development of this country. So for him, I have an issue with. For him.
Right.
But for Jane Mensah and all of that, I am saying that albeit that the explanations are not sufficient enough for the purposes of ensuring that our democracy is well protected, we should allow her operate.
Okay.
And she herself must find herself standing by her conscience and acting in ways which will now give confidence to people that she will be very independent and she will not kowtow to the whims and caprices of political, of a political leader that elected her.
Okay.
So I am happy, not because of the reasons given by the the CJ. I am happy that she's continuing to occupy, that space, just because I want our democracy to be strengthened. That's it.
Thank you. So, Powers, I noticed something interesting. So, I noticed in the particular letter I read, the opening of the letter indicated that I have the instruction of His Excellency the President to convey to you actions taken on your petition dated 22nd April 2025. What it means that the petition was received 22nd April. Then that petition was forwarded to the CJ 25th November. So that's April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 7 months later. The CJ came back to the presidency 26th January. So December, January, 2 months. And then the presidency communicated to the people a month later, almost 16th February. This is almost a year to just find out whether a case has prima facie or not.
Let me say one good morning to your viewers. I think this is an interesting development. One that, for me, does not surprise me at all. But there's one thing we need to be clear on. I've read many media reports that say that, President John Dramani Mahama had cleared the EC boss and deputies as well as the special prosecutor. Then I asked myself, was it the determination of the president that led us to this conclusion? Because the law is clear, and Dr. Kabila had hinted at it. I think 146 is clear. When it comes to matters bordering on justices of the Supreme Court and the other justices of the Superior Court, which we categorize the Electoral Commission and the Special Prosecutor within that category, the president had no authority to determine whether or not the petition raises any prima facie
like a conveyor belt.
So why do we say the president cleared? The president did not clear anybody. The president did not clear anybody. It was the Chief Justice that concluded that those petitions were not anything that hold water, and that should be dismissed. So if anything at all, was the Chief Justice who dismissed the petition, not the President. The President was only communicating to Ghanaians that this was the conclusion reached by the Chief Justice. I've had many NDC leadership, let me say some functionaries of the governing National Democratic Congress unhappy or displeased with the decision. In fact, I've heard many say that, they are questioning whether or not this EC chairperson is fit for purpose. Then I asked myself, do they have any extra reasons justifying the dismissal or the removal of the Electoral Commissioner and the two deputies? as well as the special prosecutor. It was one of their political promises. I mean, one of the commentaries they made during the 2024 election, that they will clean up the system, and they succeeded in removing the Chief Justice, which I'm happy Doc and other groups are in court to challenge. And you see, we are here because, and Kwame made it clear, there is no document clarifying how to reach a threshold. And sometimes I read the portion, the letter from the green letter, yes, from the presidency, where they purportedly quoted some portions of the report submitted to them, yes, to the president. And he says, even paragraph 3, line 2, it says, while the allegations raise serious constitutional and administrative questions, they do not on their face meet the threshold required for a prima facie determination of stated misbehavior or incompetence, warranting that a committee be set up to inquire into the petition. Which threshold? And who set the threshold? Do we have this threshold in this country? Or this threshold is at the whims and caprices of individuals who are given opportunity to make such determination? Because some few months away, the president had to make a similar determination. And if we are to just suppose these two determinations, then we will say that the president's determination was so low.
You mean the Chief Justice?
The Chief Justice.
Yes, the Chief Justice, the removal of the Chief Justice, the determination made by the president leading to the removal of the forceful removal of the Chief Justice.
No, that couldn't have been made by the president. That determination couldn't have been.
I mean,
no, it was
the
Chief. I'm talking about the Chief Justice.
The president that you said is a
yes, it's a commander. So I think it was just
no. I'm not talking about the EC.
Okay. Which one?
I'm talking about the removal of the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Get-to-Tokuno.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So I'm saying that the determination, the standard was low. Because I had issues with this.
The standard by the acting Chief Justice at the time.
At the time, yes.
Which acting Chief Justice?
Because the president couldn't have removed.
Because like we said earlier, the president is just a conveyor belt.
Just relax. Let me do mine.
The president who
let me do mine. The thing is that when it comes to listen, the CJ, that's what I'm saying. So when I'm not talking about the Chief Justice.
Okay.
Because what I'm saying is that when it comes to Chief Justice, the role of Chief Justice is the president.
Yes,
that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
That's correct.
That's correct. Yes. So I'm not confusing the two.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if we are to compare the standards the Chief Justice is talking about, and the one the president reached some months away, then the president's threshold was so low to the point that they had to forcefully remove a certain Chief Justice. In fact, last week, you had an opportunity to discuss even the weight of that removal and how it affected our ranking on the Corruption Perception Index.
Yes.
You know, Transparency International was clear on this. We can't be running a government based on political decisions and campaign promises. Which is why I agree with Doc that we need to legislate on what the threshold is, so that we can have predictability, certainty.
If I may just help, there are cases decided in this country. In the Jeju case,
yes.
In the Justice Oderi case, that the former Chief Justice Sophia Akufo actually made it clear in her judgment that we needed a guideline
exactly
to guide the conduct of Article 146.
Exactly.
But we have failed as a people to do that.
And why have we failed?
I've always said that we will get to a time somebody can say just even chewing gum is stated misconduct.
I can tell you that with this lacuna, if Doc is given an opportunity to make a prima facie determination, his standards will be different from my standards, from that of Kwame, and even Kojo from you. Why? Because it is that's what they always say. They say what love is in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Equally, love is in the eyes of the beholder. The person you love is because of what you see.
Prima facie is in the eyes of the beholder.
Exactly. It's at the whims and caprices of the one who's making the determination. Now, let's come to this. I've heard people say this is a PR gimmick, and that the government had to reining the Chief Justice so that it won't be like they are going after the constitutional heads or the leaders of the various constitutional bodies. I don't know what I can say about that, but what I can say is that we need to start thinking systems, system thinking.
Right.
Because you can't drive reforms by removing people. When they started this, I said it. If you have issues with the then Chief Justice, the answer does not lie in removing the Chief Justice. It is in driving reforms. And the reforms should be systems. But this government, they went after the Chief Justice. It was political. That's why I'm saying that the standard or the threshold applied by the president was too low to the point that it does not even it pales if you are to compare it with that of the decision reached by the Chief Justice. Now, so
that will be your final point that we move on.
Fair enough. So I have said that we need to clarify the grounds stated or provided in Article 146. And in fact, I had opportunity to look at the report of the Constituent Assembly. In fact, that proposed the draft constitution.
Yes.
And in fact, the Committee of Experts, the Committee of Experts. In fact, and they were clear in their minds that Article 146 should not be applied holistically or anyhow. They were clear in their minds. And when we come to the relevance or the legal effect of such reports, they are important when we are making determination. In fact, now the position of the Supreme Court is that when you are determining a matter, you must address them purposively. Yes. Interpretation, purposive interpretation. Which means that you must resort to such report and memorandum and other thing.
To understand the intention of the framers.
The spirit behind this.
Yes. So if the president had in fact read the report of the Committee of Experts, I'm not sure we would have been discussing, and even the removal of the Chief Justice would be questionable. But the thing is that
it was before the committee.
Yes.
The chairperson of that committee appeared before the Proman committee.
Yes.
But I mean, that's as I said.
I agree. And in drawing to conclusions, I think that the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court must be up and doing.
Right.
We must get these matters determined. For me, what they have done in appointing a new Chief Justice, I say that they have changed the substratum. They've changed the substratum. If today they declare that the removal of the ex-Chief Justice was unconstitutional, will she come back?
That's what we wait for.
That's the question for the court.
It's also happening at the ECOWAS court.
ECOWAS court, yes, because she also has an action over there. So, in running up, we must just be clear in our mind. The president did not clear anybody. Yeah. This is not a political tool or a capital that they want to arrogate to themselves. Okay. The president did not clear anybody, because if the determination was to have been made by the president, I don't think we'll be talking about anybody being cleared. Because by now we should be talking about a committee being constituted to determine whether or not the EC boss and the deputies and the special prosecutor should be removed.
Right.
How do you know that?
Anyway,
their standards are low, and I've said it.
Honorable Chibevi, so it's on this case, it's been one of the long-standing beliefs of the New Patriotic Party that the whole move to remove the then CJ and replace was one or the first step to target the EC in the process. So I'm sure with this decision to dismiss this petition, it gives you a bit of confidence that alas, the EC is not going anywhere.
And prove them wrong.
And prove you wrong.
Thank you very much, and I want to extend my felicitations to all my colleagues here on the table, and also want to say strongly that I'm so impressed about the discussions going on so far. Very intelligent minds, and I guess it is very important for our democracy at this time. And also to stand on the existing protocols to just make my submission without being political. As a matter of fact, that's what I intended to do coming here. But I think somebody just shifted the paradigm. And so the person was trying to tempt me in that matter.
Who is somebody?
Be able to shift into where I didn't want to go to.
Is it me? Is it somebody?
I'm not mentioning anybody's name. I only made a statement. In the first place, for this is very important. The whole thing borders on somebody. There was a conjecture. I mean, that's what because whatever petition that was sent to the presidency or petitions that were sent to the presidency, to me, they didn't merit the status of good petitions. I mean, looking at the response or the report from the Chief Justice. So in effect, in the first place, I see the incompetence in the petition. The petition was very, very, very incompetent, and clearly, it shows the political nature of what. Let us know that the party called the National Democratic Congress had already advertised their intentions to take an action like this, whether we like it or not.
This is you not wanting to go political.
But I'm just trying to. Their intentions were advertised clearly. Clearly. In the time of the elections, when we're campaigning, they told the whole world that they want to reset the country when they get the opportunity to rule. And clearly they specifically made reference to areas that they want to touch or target. And one of these areas that they were looking for to create problems for the country and our democracy was the Electoral Commission. And so we're so sure about what they were going to do. But the fact still remains that whatever they did, whether it was right or wrong, I am so confident that they didn't succeed, whether we like it or not. Another point I want to make clear is that I want to support my brother, that you see, nobody can convince me, I don't stand to be corrected, that this petition was not politically motivated. Nobody can convince me on the fact that you can just rise up and write things against people. You see, the establishment of Prima Facie cannot just be. One of the things that I was expecting the speakers who are lawyers to also make was that it was strictly discretionary. I mean, at that particular time, the law is always at the bosom of the one who is determining the Prima Facie, whether we like it or not. Because the Article 146 doesn't clearly give the full explanation and detailed explanation as to how they have to go about the whole issue. So I believe that the Chief Justice only exercised his discretion as the Chief Justice, who has been given a job to do, whether the job was good or bad. And that's what I believe, that whatever he said, we in the political space and very, very concerned with our democracy believed that this was the only only report that could have been given. That's apart from this. So me, I am not surprised at all. Not surprised. See, people were talking about the fact that these people were determined because they had already made promise. They had already advertised their intentions to create this mess. So definitely they can go back. No, because there was a problem. Ghana's image has been dented, whether we like it or not. When Transparency International came out with this anti-corruption stuff, it clearly gave the strength of Ghana as a diamond of democracy. It reduced our strength in the international space, whether we like it or not. And so the president or whoever was given the job, I mean by extension the Chief Justice, because note that the Chief Justice was only doing the bid of the president at this time, whether we like it or not. Because exercising the discretion, you can have a discussion in camera and come and express it. And we may not know. We are politicians. I tell them every day. I tell them every day
by possibility.
Not necessarily. That, you see, let's be careful.
No. Let me just make. Let me just make a point.
Go ahead.
I may withdraw that.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is that we are politicians on this table. almost all of us are politicians.
But not all of us are partisan.
No, we are politicians. I've not mentioned whether we are partisan or not. We are politicians.
It's important to make that distinction.
Yes, we are politicians.
Yes.
We cannot pretend we don't understand what is going on. It will be strictly pretense. I'm telling you that people may pretend that we don't know what is going on. We are politicians. We know what's going on. I was telling a friend that the mere fact that you say something which is untrue about a friend doesn't mean that you are the only person who may think that what you are saying is untrue. Others may also think like that, or may know. That's the point I'm making. So the fact still remains that, and as I said earlier on, this one too, I don't stand to be corrected, that exercising the discretion at this particular time by the Chief Justice, which was not, seen or known, exercising that discretion, that prima facie establishment discretion, I believe that we all knew what was going to happen, and that has happened. You knew about that this was going to happen at this particular time, because the government is under serious pressure. You know that. You see, so whatever they said, whether it was going to be different or not, tactics can be changed.
So you mean,
and I have not said, just read in between the lines.
So I'm reading between the lines. I like reading aloud. So what you're saying is that
into serious trouble.
I'll lead you not into temptation. Yeah. So if I hear you, what you're saying is that if not for the pressure government was under, probably
maybe
this might not be the outcome.
Maybe it would be different.
Maybe you should ask him what the pressure.
But see, because the point is that, see, look at a report from Transparency International, very well recognized international body, and that is very respected. When they dent your image, you're in trouble. Right. And the president clearly, we could see from the president's, image. Those who have seen him for some time now, we have had some meetings, will tell you that the president was not comfortable. The president was not comfortable at all with this particular. Because now he is an experienced politician who has been a president before. Right. So coming back, that is not his intention. He may not wish Ghana that bad. And so the key point I'm making here is that, one, the petition was very incompetent. Two, the Chief Justice was only exercising his discretion. Because my colleagues have already stated clearly, and we all know, that Article 46, Article 146, doesn't clearly explain or give details to how prima facie can well be established, because they only give points, and these are not enough, because you have to now think through it. What will make somebody, even talking about that, what we even know, infirmity of the mind, that one, somebody can even say that I can say that you are sick. You may not need to bring, because in Ghana here we always describe people the way we see them. So somebody may decide to exercise and decide to come down. Oh, come on, you are sick. So on the basis of I know that when we through going to the hospital, but the key points I want to know, I want you to understand clearly these key points. I want us to look at it very well. First one, the incompetent nature of the petition. Two, that report, whatever happened, it was an exercise of a discretion. That's what I want to. And the last one, the president had no option. When the president of presidency or the government, they had no option. This was the only report that could have come. Apart from this, any other report wouldn't have.
So this is a safe image, safe face report.
Yes, just to tell the people that, okay, we know you shout, but allow us to do this because after the resetting agenda, we are on course. So let us pretend that this one is going through, or just this one fell through and we didn't succeed, but we may succeed in that sense. So these are some of the key things that I wanted to, because they have made very good submissions. I didn't want to, create noise, but I wanted to establish these 3 points. That these are very, very important points. That this is what I think.
So your point, incompetent nature
of the petition.
It was very discretionary.
From the Chief Justice point,
and then it's face saving.
That's right. That's all about. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Honorable BAWA-DUA. Today I pronounced the name right. Right. My family call you Bongo MP. So Honorable. Well, like has been said across during the campaign to come into government, there were some leaders of your party, there were some key figures in your party that made statement that suggested that if the NDC comes into power, the EC and her deputies would not be tolerated, for want of a better term. Now we have this judgment. Does this end the case, or there are more petitions to come?
How would you know?
By now, like the way Honorable says they've had meetings with the president. I don't know what meetings he's also had.
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to all the viewers and the listeners as well. I think this is a very critical national issue, which, when we are discussing it, we look at the good of the nation, the benefits that we'll get out of this discussion for purposes of building Malaga.
Right.
We should not just situate it for present circumstances. Today, we are sitting here, tomorrow it will be others. Yeah. Today the NDC is in power, tomorrow it may be CPP or some other political party. So whatever we discuss of this, we should look at the larger effect it has for the country. Yes, it may be true that in the course of the campaign, some political activists of the NDC made such comments. But the thing is that they made those comments and they believe that certain things that happened at the time warranted the removal of the Electoral Commission. For example, the SAL issue. You have a situation where a particular constituency did not have representation in Parliament because the Electoral Commission failed to perform its work, even when it was continually being reminded that this was a constitutional flaw and that this was wrong. They did nothing about it for 4 years. Clearly, what is more incompetent about this than this? This was a clear case of incompetence. Then in the case of Osman Asare, this was somebody who had openly made comments, like my friend has stated.
As commissioner?
Not as commissioner, but even as an independent person. Even when you make such comments, how do you now separate yourself from those comments when you become a commissioner? You cannot. In some other serious jurisdiction, he would have declined his appointment to that position because he has a stated position. Can you just over one night forget about your belief, a principle that you believe in, and which you have expressly and publicly stated?
You think people cannot be professional enough?
You can. What is professional about this? You have stated about it. Let's look at the recent case of OWUSU East, when Mahama was appointed to be a member of a committee to investigate what happened. He said, "Look, I'm in Parliament. Parliament has stated its position in the matter. I cannot now be a member of the committee." So he opted out. Because if you have stated things that you believe in, you can't come and say, "Well, now I'm a professional person, so I'm going to professionally make decisions." No. It is important that these sensitive decisions you are making are not only fair, but are seen in the public eyes to be fair. You may think that you are making a professional decision, but will the public believe it? Given the circumstances of the background of the things you have said and your belief on in the subject matter? Definitely not. So if I were him, I would have recused myself or rejected that appointment so that we have a very fair Electoral Commission. So these were some of the things that informed the decision or position by some activists of the National Democratic to say that, look, in our belief, we think that these were good enough grounds to have them removed. But the truth is that they are not the determinants of what will constitute enough grounds. In this case, the Chief Justice has expressed it in terms of a certain threshold. The activists who made those comments are not the determinants of what the threshold or the yardstick should be, what the measurement is that will determine the removal or otherwise of the Electoral Commissioner. So if on this occasion, they did not get what they wanted. And they didn't get it because the person in whom the discretion is placed to make that decision think that, no, for me, these allegations you have made do not meet the threshold. So it now brings into the entire discussion of what is the threshold. How is the threshold determined? You will read the letter from the presidency, quoting excerpts of the report from the CJ. There is no indication of it. I don't know if in the entire letter the Chief Justice stated all these things before, but that was left out in the letter from the President, I don't know. But whatever it is important that the public knows what the threshold is. And this can come by way of a review. Some amendments to the Constitution, some amendments particularly to Article 146. Let us have an idea. Let us have clarity as to what the threshold is, so that even the actors in those offices, in the performance of their function, they are guided. That if I do this and that, I will be a subject matter of removal. But we don't have it. So you may be doing things in good faith, in the absolute belief that you are performing your function. Then somebody who has the discretion to determine whether or not you have violated the Article 146 makes that determination, when in fact you believed in good faith that you were performing your functions in good faith. So that determination has to be made. And I think that we have an opportunity now. Opportunity because we all know that currently the Constitutional Review Committee is working, and I believe that very soon
they've submitted their report.
Yes, they have submitted their report. Very soon, I believe that very soon some proposals for amendments will come before Parliament. Right. Let us take this as an opportunity to clarify. But even before that is done, it is also clear that there are cases before the court, the Supreme Court, regarding this matter. In previous cases, the court has emphasized and reiterated the need for there to be clarity in the subject matter. But nothing also stops the court from providing guidelines in terms of judicial precedent. It was done in a day too. To guide everybody, so that when the person is making a determination, you are guided by this thing. But of course, it is more forceful and easier to reach, more understandable when it comes by way of legislation. So I think moving forward, we need to deal with these things. And I will say that, look, the decision has divided the country. There are those who think that no, there were grounds for the removal. There are those who think there were no grounds at all, and hate this. Whatever it is for the good of this country. It is once again an example of the fact that now the institutions of states, especially the constitutional bodies, operate independently. Right. And I will always say that every person who is appointed to such position must always assert their independence. It is only when we assert our independence and act objectively, then all these allegations, that you are biased and all that will cease. So this decision has been made. I will add and especially people on the NDC side who may not be happy with it, to accept it, and let's move on as a country and build the institutions.
Yes. There's something I think I must put on record. It is very unfair that someone not here will be put on the table and discussed in a manner that have been discussed over and over to be untrue. This Bosman Asari case, I was in a political science department. Please, I'm coming. You see, we need to be very fair. We are not even sure if any of the petitions that were sent and dealt with included any commentary of his as a political science. Please give me. Please, it is not true. It is not true. It is not true. This is a lie. He has.
Don't say that. Yes, but very important.
We cannot build a country on assumptions, feelings, and hearsay. Kwame made a similar statement that he had said he was opposed to a certain political tradition. Dr. Bosman Asari has denied this, and yet we go on with it. It is unfair. I'm sitting here. Look, there was a day somebody was on set with me and accused me of being a member of a certain political party, when everybody knows I have held membership of a particular party and risen to the highest position of that party as general secretary. And yet on set, the person was saying this. I called on the host to put the person to strict. Even that notwithstanding, he was going on. We cannot build our country like that. That said, you see, even in the exercise of discretion, Article 296 is clear and unambiguous. You are not at liberty to do what you want. You are guided to the extent that there are decided cases. Ransford France is one of them. The Gregory Afoko case is one of them. Even the Paul Derry case. That you cannot just say that I've exercised my discretion and it cannot be subject to judicial review. So let's stop making or creating the impression that the fact that we have issues with no clearly stated guidelines, there haven't been a guide as to how Article 146 should be done. Look, the CDD report on President Mahama's 1 year in office, they've stated this year that the removal of a sitting Chief Justice, even though it followed the letter of the law as prescribed in the Constitution, this is something CDD is saying. We have contested this, that the removal of the Chief Justice didn't follow the law. And we are the Supreme Court. A determination has not been made yet. And it goes on to say that it degenerated into accusations of judicial interference along with deep partisan disagreements. The public discourse created an image of two co-equal branches of government at war with each other. Although a new Chief Justice has been sworn into office and the partisan acrimony appears to have subsided, the entire process appears to have its transparency deficits that have left the institution vulnerable. I'm not the one saying this. CDD. So we need to be clear in our mind. But all I tried to interview was that, please, let's be careful how we run with attacks on people who are not here, privileged to respond, and who have had the opportunity in the past on certain other platforms to deny these things. I was at the political science department. I know Dr. Bosman Asare a little. And I can say that in his dealings, he appears less partisan. He doesn't like these partisan considerations. Yet, some people said he was even a patron of a political party grouping on campus, which is a lie. How do you know that? I know that because I know that because hold on. The person who made that allegation, was subjected to strict proof to say which year period that patrons of political party groupings on university campuses. And I've operated as a student leader on university campus before. You know, they are year period. The person who made this allegation was asked, which year period was Dr. Bosman Asare a patron of the New Patriotic Party? The person couldn't answer. It has never happened. Quickly. We don't need to do this. Any political grouping is registered with the university authority, the student, dean of students, and they have records. Yes. So if you want to know the patron, the records are there, like what Doc is saying.
Okay. So I come, Kwame.
You see, I tried as much as possible. I tried as much as possible not to politicize the matter.
But you did.
And which is why in my submission, I indicated to you that the position that I held when those petitions were forwarded to the president hasn't changed. It is still my view that we should not take out the electoral commissioner and her deputies because I want us to strengthen our democracy. I said that. It doesn't mean that I don't believe.
Reach the law.
Hold on. It doesn't mean that I don't believe. Exactly. So we have not gotten to the point where no, it's not contradictory. I am making a statement of fact. Do you think that all the people who are heading these independent institutions are following the law to the letter? Do you think that that's what? It's not. You understand what I'm saying? So I have made that point. I'm only saying
if there's no reason to
I'm only saying hold on my brother. Hold on. No, we're not going back. You see what
his
you have to
the
Bossman issue that I'm coming back to.
Kwame is restating his comment.
So Bossman case. Hold on. Kwame. None of us really have proof. You don't also have proof. No, the fact that you were hit there.
When somebody made allegation, I was in the studio when somebody made
perception. You are saying.
Okay, when
sat here,
you are talking
about the perception. The perception that
the period was
said that.
Bosman Asare.
He himself said that. I've never been part of any political party.
Yes, you have said that.
So now, what again can you say?
So, I have also said that he was a patron of the party.
No,
I have said
it.
So,
do you understand?
I mean, it's not about to understand. You don't have a right to just say it.
I don't have the right to just say it.
When was he?
But you have a right to also debunk what I've said. Without,
to the extent that you do not aver and prove what you have averred, I can challenge it.
No, but that is, of course, it's better.
That's what I'm doing. So when was he? No. When was he? I am responding to his unsubstantiated allegation.
Kabila. You wait. Okay. So Kwame, the point is that you said something in your commentary. You said something that about Bosman. The reason why for him you think that ordinarily
he should have gone.
He should have gone.
Yeah.
You made that statement.
Yes.
Okay. And then one of I think it's Honorable who made mention of the fact that he is a patron.
Yes. But Kwame said that he had made a statement that he didn't like a party.
No, I'm making this point. Honorable made the statement about him being a patron.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you also made a point that in one of his commentaries he had indicated that he did not like a political party.
Yes.
Okay. And that is what Dr. BOMFEH is saying, that Bosman has come out
to deny
that. So as it stands today, Bosman is asking that anybody who makes that statement should prove that Bosman made that statement. Do you have that proof?
Did he or did he not say NDC was a threat to democracy?
When did he say that?
So, hold on. I'll find it for you.
Okay, I'll get that. No, but why was he the same as he said that he didn't like that party?
Hold on. No, please. You see,
first you are saying that.
No, please.
No, you said, you asked me a question. Did you not?
If you say.
No, did you ask me a question?
Hold on, please.
Unless the question was
if you say
yes
that a political party is a threat to democracy, what does that mean?
In what context?
So you are saying that.
What context again do you
sitting here? If I say that what you are doing is disingenuous to public discourse, am I saying that you are disingenuous person?
But my actions may not necessarily be disingenuous. You are saying my actions.
If you are doing something, what you are doing now, I'm saying that it's disingenuous to public discourse.
Kabila. Honorable.
Tell us what particular situation.
Kabila, please hold on.
Let's be fair to ourselves. Let's not do it to other people.
I'll come in.
I'll
need you to open that link.
Yeah.
Share it with me.
I will share it with you.
Because again, I know that statement that was made. And I know the context in which it was made. So I want you to share it with me, then we can discuss it.
What was the
context? I want you to share it so that we can share with me.
No, listen. Tell us what he said.
But I've told you what he said. You are still disagreeing with me.
So share the link. Maybe what I am thinking is, so share it with me, then we will discuss the context. Okay. You understand? Okay. Now, let me come to you. Now, this issue about threshold, this issue about discretion, this which Kabila has indicated that the expressing or using your discretion has been defined not to be capricious and all those. So it's within a certain confinement.
Yes.
So even though you are expressing your discretion, you are confined to not frolic with it in a way. But my worry is, are we not setting people that are being appointed into constitutional bodies up, where I don't really know what it is that I'm going to do, that the next day somebody will tell me that this thing you are doing constitutes misconduct? Because if you read what the Chief Justice said, he said even though the allegations raise serious constitutional administrative questions, which means that there are some administration decisions you could be taking in good faith, but might be construed to mean bad.
But exactly.
Are we not setting people up?
So the thing is that if we want to remove anybody or a public office holder from office, we will do that. And I mean, you can remove it easily. With the current system we operate, you can remove anybody. And you see, Doc was referring to the constitutional provision which provides that you must, when in exercising discretion, it must not be absurd.
Yes.
In fact, we've had cases where our courts have concluded that certain decisions were wrong.
Administrative.
Yes.
even though those decision makers thought they had exercised it within the framework of the law. So it is not as people say that, oh, you can do what you want. No, what you want to do must be within the framework of the law. But that is why we need the guidelines, particularly in deciding on whether to remove a chief justice. It's a major decision.
Grave.
It's a major decision. That is the head of the third arm of government. Co-equal. In fact, theoretically, it must be equal. So you are removing, even though you play a major role in appointing the head of the third arm of government, you must not be seen to be remote controlling the third arm of government. And I have said it time with that number, KOJO, that we succeeded in undermining, or we succeeded in using the powers of the executive powers to cause commotion in the country. Parliament has lost its touch. Now, when you listen to Parliament now, the Parliament is, we all know Parliament is a rubber stamp. Because any bill that goes to Parliament will not be able to, will not be dilated properly.
That's not entirely accurate.
No, that is.
I mean, there are bills that have gone that have been rejected.
No, there are the thing is that.
Let's hedge.
No. So I'm making this based on certain things I've seen Parliament make, certain laws I've seen Parliament make, which if Parliament had been given the opportunity to debate properly, would have had a better law. Sure. In fact, we have a number of such laws. Sure. How about the cause with that? That if Parliament had an opportunity to debate, particularly my issue even has to do with the frequent use of the certificate of agency, where the bills are sent under a certificate of agency
from the executive.
That's what I'm saying. Then, so it robs the citizens of the opportunity to properly come out with laws that will guide us. That's why sometimes you end up amending. You see a law passed a year ago, then it's amended because we properly didn't, in fact, discuss them. Kwame, the thing is that I was even mentioning Kwame because I am saying that the Chief Justice or the President, because the report has been sent to the President must publish the Prima Facie determination, the report. Yes, the citizens must know. We should stop keeping some of these things keeping them from the public. We need to know what went into the decision, so that, like we are all saying, it will guide those who are at the various constitutional or heading not only the constitutional bodies, those heading any public institution,
and those who are planning on putting up petitions.
Exactly.
Frivolous. Yes.
And those and no, mind you, this determination does not end the conversation. Yeah. I understand there are other petitions before the President.
Yes, apparently.
Yes. Even the one Martin Kwebu has filed a petition against the special prosecutor, which is currently before the President. I'm yet to hear whether the President has transmitted it to the Chief Justice.
I mean, it takes 6 months to transmit.
Exactly, per the calculation you make. So we need this report to be published, so that Ghanaians will have a better feel of it. We should stop hiding some of this report from the public.
Right. Thank you, Kwame.
Yeah.
With what has happened, does this build confidence in the EC and even give them now the power and authority to go about their activities? Because I mean, within a whole year, they will be shaking, not knowing really what is going to happen to us. But at least with this, do you think it builds their confidence and now gives them the vim, for want of a better term, to go about their activities with no fear?
Well, absolutely. I think that within, for the simple reason that now at least they have some clarity, in relation to the petitions which were forwarded to the President to be actioned on, and the outcomes of same. It will actually give them some confidence and some freedom to be able to work without any political interferences or so. So I'm happy that at least, it finds expression in my long-held position, like I told you. But that doesn't also mean that in the future, if there's evidence to suggest that they are acting, in ways that does not give the people confidence that they are working within the confines of the law, I think that people are also at liberty to petition the President and also to bring their their performance into question. So I'm happy. I'll be very honest with you. I'm happy that we are forging this path, and I just want to pray that going forward, Madam J. Mensah and her deputies will act in ways which will continue to give people confidence. Perception is very important. Perception in every institution is extremely important. It is the same perception which some other political parties dwelled on for the removal of Charlotte Osei. There was perception, and that same perception could have led to the removal of Madam Jane Mensah. You know, so this cyclical uncertainty, which has been truncated for me, makes me very, very happy that at least we have a government, or if you like, a government. If I say government, I'm talking about the three arms of government working independently to ensure that our democracy is furthered.
Okay, right. Honorable, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, as a matter of fact, actually I don't side with him at all, and I believe that it's going to put more fear in them.
Now you can just see who the political person is talking
about. So I mean, you live in a country where a government has decided to accept unnecessary and frivolous, petitions, and I guess they have to do a lot of work, behind the scenes, before they even transmit these petitions to whoever they want to. But the point is that the government has
the president does not have that.
He doesn't have
the 146.
He doesn't even vet the electors. He does not vet them.
Listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening to you.
Don't mind them.
I'm listening to you.
And the point I'm making.
You don't say the petitions are.
No, let him.
I'm a politician. I'm talking to you as a politician.
Oh, okay.
And I said to you earlier on that nobody can pretend we don't know what's going on. We know. We know who are behind these petitioners. We know who. I mean, see, the point I want.
The is also congestion.
No, the point I want to make.
If you don't know, I'll let you retract.
No. The point we should prove it. The point I want to make to you is that, and this is very clear. The point I want to make to you that this is going to put more fear in them. Because
them
here means the EC officials,
okay,
the Electoral Commissioner and his two deputies,
right?
And because now you know that you are not safe. I mean, you cannot do things you want to do. Easily. You want to always please or sing.
So more like now the microscope is on them.
Yeah, that's the meaning. And you have to always please the president and his government. That's what you have to do. And so it is going to make the EC very political now. That's what I feel and think, because now they know that if they don't please the government in power, there are going to be petitions. A lot of petitions may come tomorrow, which may create problems for them, because you don't know that because as we have established now, clearly we have established that the prima facie that was not established was because of the fact that somebody decided to exercise a discretion that favors. You are
claiming that.
Others have said different things. No, but that's the case. Because you cannot.
That's your case.
You cannot convince me otherwise. So the point I want to make to you, my brother, is that don't say this anywhere that they will have some relief. No, it's not going to happen. It is going to create more problems for them, because now they are going to think through things before they act.
Interesting.
No, please, let me finish up. Hitherto, they were working independently. It was a commission. They work as a commission, not as individuals, as my brother Kabila said. So, one person is not supposed to suffer like a problem or a decision of the commission. But now, they have to be very careful, because you know that anything can happen to you. Any bad thing can happen to you. And as I said earlier on, I still stand on what I said earlier on, that we are politicians. I am a politician, so I know what happens behind the scenes sometimes. You can, as I said, I cannot pretend that people will just stand up from their houses and decide to write petitions against people. When political party leadership or senior members of political party had already made that intention when they were not in power.
Right.
So clearly, when they come to power, they are just going to find somebody do this for us, so that we will be able to push the agenda and get the thing done.
Right.
That's my point. So don't even say anywhere that they are going to have some solace.
I won't say it anyway. I'll come to you.
It is not going to happen.
Honorable, Ochimefi made a very interesting point, and I noticed also in the wording the Chief Justice used. Clearly, the Chief Justice tried to move away from commissioner and straight on commission.
Thank you.
So if you read, it keeps saying that the petition likely rests on conclusions of unlawfulness and bad faith without establishing at a preliminary level clear facts demonstrating intentional wrongdoing or a manifest inability to perform constitutional function. Even if the commission's actions or inactions are assumed to be erroneous, controversial or suboptimal, such shortcomings do not automatically translate into stated misbehavior. And so technically the Chief Justice tried to move away from personalizing and making it more about the commission. And so I go back to the question, does this not further strengthen them to let them know that, look, we work together as a team, and so if we are falling as a team, and let's work together?
Yes, I think that it does. The thing is that, look, this is a team of people that constitutes the commission. Of course, because for administrative purposes, you have a certain hierarchy.
Executive
commissioner and deputies and all that, and even up to the lower level. But they work together. And it cannot be said that in the majority of these things, individual decisions are taken without meetings or consultations before they are taken.
That's right.
So clearly, these were actions of the commission.
That's right.
And so it is important that in dealing with this issue, you have to distinguish between things done by the commission and then individual. That's why if you look at the wording of the constitutional provision, it talks about stated misbehavior. That for me will have to relate to personalities. Yes. You understand?
And the commission is a personality.
Yes, the personality in terms of the persons. Because the commission as its own will not be misbehaving as well. Of course, it may be behaving in a manner that constitutes the incompetence or the inability of the commission to perform
would the individual bit not come in when it is established that a decision was not taken by all? One person, or a decision was taken by one person, said no, I will not go, and went ahead to do his or her, then that one will go as that person.
That will go as stated misbehavior.
Yes.
That clearly, that constitutional aspect of it that talks about stated misbehavior will deal with that particular person.
Exactly.
But for a lot of the things that the commission takes as a whole, you cannot be holding one person individually as somebody who has misconducted or that he is incompetent.
Right.
When the commission has discussed this matter and taken the decision. So this should urge the commission to work together as a team. And make sure that decisions that come out are decisions of the commission rather than individual decisions.
So this goes to confirm what Honorable Oshmevi is saying, that the petition ab initio was incompetent because it was going at people for decisions taken as a commission.
Well, I have not seen the petitions. I do not know how they were couched.
No, that was not going against all seven.
That's evidence. Yeah, so they had their reasons why they went against three. But we haven't seen the petitions. You have not read. I have not read. We are not in a position to state the competence or otherwise of the petition.
Right.
What the Chief Justice is saying is that what they have said in those petitions do not meet the threshold. There's one thing to say that you have not proved your case enough. It's a different thing to say that your case is an incompetent one.
Right.
They're entirely different.
Right.
Okay. I wanted to come between Kwame and my brother. You see, Kwame's point that it's reassuring that this has happened for them to go ahead and work is valid. Okay, it's reassuring. Only that, Kwame then beats his own argument by saying, but he's whatever. But I think the important point is that it is reassuring and gives the confidence. And as my brother, Honorable Bongo has said, as you read from the release from the presidency, the view now is that it is a commission.
Right.
And I think that's where I started. But at the same time, I think Honorable Ochibafi's point, which I agree with, except how he goes, or extent to which he goes with it, they should fear because the office they are occupying is one of public trust.
Absolutely.
They must be careful the things that they do.
And say.
And go. And who or whatever they transact with. Because at the end of the day, they are bound by strict regulations of law. If they fall foul of that, and somebody mischievous wants to do the politics, the bad politics that you were talking about, then the person will have an easy way to conclude, yes, it is politics we are doing. And as politicians, we need to understand that what builds nations is good politics, the right politics, not the kind of politics that divide a people. And at the end of the day, it is our collective here and the conversation we are having here. I'm picking something from my Honorable Bongo MP. I should be visiting him one of these days. I'm picking something from you. I mean, and all of us here, I think we are picking bits and pieces from each other. Yeah. Let us see the beauty in our diversity.
Let's take a break.
How political our systems have become.
How partisan.
Yes. How bad political.
Our systems, our corporate bodies, our public corporate. And so it's making it very difficult for me to side with you. But the point is that if you work in a political office, in a public corporate office, where everything is seen political, or people who are even partisan, employed are very partisan, it becomes very difficult for people to behave the way you are talking about. Then people will now always like to please you or tickle your emotions. But
let's try. It's difficult, but let's try. That's why politics is difficult. Work at it. So, let's work at it.
It's difficult, but we are trying to try to take a break.
Yes.
When we come back, we'll discuss the Cocobod issue, allowances cut, people picketing at the headquarters and staying overnight, waiting for what, God knows what. People also, staff saying that they do not agree to the cutting of the allowances because they were not consulted. The trade union bodies also coming out saying that it cannot be done. We'll discuss it when we come back from this break.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
We have been given the mandate to fix the problem. But fixing the problem doesn't mean that you shouldn't tell the people the problem you came to meet. Somebody was saying that we saw all of that. Did we tell you that when we come, the cocoa price was going to fall? The young man who was there and was saying that we saw all of that and promised the people 70%. We promised them 70%. We didn't promise them a fixed quantum. And we have met the threshold. So who is deceiving who now? Ladies and gentlemen, go out and tell the people of Ghana the truth. The truth is that just like they collapsed the banks, the truth is that just like they collapsed the capital market, the truth is that just like they collapsed where we used to go and borrow money abroad to come and finance our country, we realized that they were at the verge of collapsing also Cocobod. And we are taking decisive steps to rescue Cocobod, make Cocobod better, and make sure that Cocobod performs the way we want it. For those of you who have been observing, you see, when Randy Abe was quizzing them as a journalist, they were not happy. Now they think that the time has come. No time has come. Randy Abe is the man for the job. And Randy Abe is 10 times better than them. I have shown you the loans that he has paid alone in just 1 year. The loans that you left. Randy has paid in excess of 10 billion in 1 year. You want that person to step aside for who to come? Edu or who? Do you understand the point? So if you understand the work that he has done, the heavy lifting that he has done, you would understand that he's the right person to move Cocobod forward. And we are not going to make those changes. We are going to make sure.
Okay. So we're going to discuss the Cocobod. I pray we have enough time to discuss this. Last week we had the I think it's the Solicitor Secretary for Cocobod, and then we also had the former Public Affairs Director under the past regime in here.
And you had me.
And then we had a spectator guest, Kwame, because the discussions were hijacked mainly by the two. Yes, so I mean, for viewers also who go back to us that we sidelined Kwame, we apologize. It wasn't deliberate. We promised to share the time proportionally, but we had the discussions. Then following in the week after, we heard that some decisions have been taken. Allowances for executives or top management had been slashed, I think by 20%. And also we'll show on the screen the circular that sought to communicate that. In the wake of that, we have heard that some colleagues, okay, so let me just read the press release. It says that the executive management and the senior staff of Cocobod have effective today, Monday, February 16, 2026, reduced their salaries for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop year in recognition of the current liquidity challenges in the cocoa industry. The executive management has taken a 20% cut, while the senior staff have taken a 10% reduction in their respective salaries. And I want you to pay attention to the wordings being used. We are talking about salaries here. This decision and other cost-cutting measures in procurement and a staff rationalization exercise are aimed at reducing the overall expenditure of Cocobod and aligning costs with revenue. Another thing I would want us to pay attention to is the bit about staff rationalization. If you do not know what it means, I would explain to you what staff rationalization basically means. Now, the public notice was that in support of ongoing efforts to reform Ghana's cocoa industry and strengthen its long-term sustainability, the Board of Directors of the Ghana Cocoa Board has resolved not to receive any certain allowance for the remainder of the 2025-2026 cocoa season. This decision reflects the board's commitment to prudent financial management, shared sacrifice, and responsible leadership as Cocobod undertakes critical reforms to address recent challenges and restore confidence across the cocoa value chain. The board reiterates the dedication to supporting measures that enhances efficiency, promote accountability, and safeguard the livelihood of cocoa farmers, while working collaboratively with government and stakeholders to secure a resilient and sustainable future for Ghana's cocoa industry. So I'll start with my Bongo MP, because it's his government and it's his Cocobod.
Are you saying it is not our government?
No, it's his government in power.
His party sponsored president.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I should if we disagree with you, because you say that we are. What did you say?
I don't know.
Anyway, but honorable, since it's your party politically that has sponsored the government in power, it was fair that I hear from you first. Now, two things I noticed in the press release. One is that salaries are being cut in a tiered form. The top 20%, the top 10%. And then there's going to be some staff rationalization. Staff rationalization in its truest form simply means two things. Either you are going to review the productivity of your staff and take a decision whether you have too many people doing little work or too little people doing a lot of work. So it results in two things. Three things. Either you keep your staff level, either you reduce people, that you sack people, or either you employ more. If it's going to be a cost management measure, then employ more would definitely not come in. So we'll talk on these two sides. But basically, what do we seek to achieve with this? how much really can be saved within that cocoa this crop season to be able to do whatever it is that we are looking at doing?
Well, thank you. I think that nobody is needed doubt the current status of Cocobod. Clearly, Cocobod is struggling financially, particularly because it doesn't have the resources to operate the way it ought to be operating. Now, there are dangers. Dangers are that if it continues the way it's operating now, it may collapse. That is a danger. So they have to take decisions, managerial decisions that will ensure that the company continues to operate and to set mothergun, including even employing the workers who are protesting. So in that light, it was important that management take those decisions to safeguard and protect the company from collapse. Now, the substance of the decisions, reduction of salaries 20% and 10%. I think that, yes, one of the ways to protect the company is to reduce salary so that you save money to do other things that will ensure that the company continues to run. So it is good to take that decision. The other thing is to ensure that Cocobod, concentrates its core duties rather than going out of it to do other things which do not really matter to it when it was initially envisaged. Fine. But when you talk of salary reduction, my problem with it is the manner in which it was being done. Now, you have in Cocobod unions, at least I know of 2 unions which are operating, the General Agricultural Workers Union and the ICU, National and Commercial Workers Unions. Salaries are benefits. They form part of the condition of service of workers. By our law, the Labour Act in particular, these are matters that are negotiated between the employer and the employee represented by the union. Some of them are couched and executed in collective agreements.
Exactly.
So they become contracts. And you cannot violate a contract, vary it, or in any way act not in accordance with the terms of that contract unilaterally. It has to go by way of negotiation. So I think that insofar as the unions and the workers agitate that they were not consulted and that it is illegal, I think that Cocobod management need to look at that. Because clearly they were not consulted, that is completely wrong. And if you read the Labour Act, read particularly 69 of the Act, you will see that it is a prohibited deduction to reduce the salaries of workers without any justification. And the law states clearly the things that will permit you to do that unilaterally. The reasons they have given, the fact that the company is struggling, is not one of the reasons for which they can unilaterally deduct salaries. So I think they need to get back to the table, meet the workers, meet the unions, discuss it, because the thing about unions is that they know also that, look, it is only when the company survives that our members will continue to work. And when they work, that is when the union gets its dues. After all, unions are there for the good of the workers. And they will not see a situation where the company is collapsing and show no interest at all. The other thing management can do is to declare redundancy, send workers home. I don't think that will help the union. So I believe that, yes, the unions may have a case, but they should handle it with care to ensure that the company continues to survive. Management also has a case because it has to make sure the company continues to run. That is where there has to be some mutual discussion between the parties to ensure that a situation is reached, that there's a seamless and peaceful integration from the current financial distress and difficulties that the company have to a better situation where we can deal with and solve the problems that is encountering this country because of the problems that Cocobod is facing.
So, Honorable, again, on that same point, in the opening remark, you made mention that it is not in doubt that Cocobod is in financial challenges.
Yeah.
We heard that the company had bought 4 V8 turbo engine cars for operations in quotes, had bought 100 double cabin pickups for operation in quotes. My question is, a business that is struggling, are buying cars for operational use the best use of the limited resources you have, considering, because you're going to do a pay cut. So if you could do a pay cut, why did you not do that capital expenditure cut for this same period?
You see, sometimes, when we hear that certain companies, organizations have bought cars, then we begin thinking that it's for the luxurious enjoyment of the management.
No, in my case, I said it's for operation.
I'm coming to that. But there's that perception also outside there.
Use my perception.
So what I'm saying is that, look, if it is for operations,
yes,
Cocobod cannot operate without mobile or strong vehicles. You cannot. You are dealing with a company that goes into the hinterland, that is mobile on the ground everywhere throughout the country. Of what effective operations can you do if you don't have strong vehicles? So we need to assess. Let us find out, was the company vehicle fleet in a state such that it needed to acquire those vehicles? That should be the question. If the answer is yes, then there was justification for purchasing the vehicles. If the answer is no, that is where we should begin to question whether that was a prudent use of the resources of the company. The management has come out to say, look, we needed these vehicles for operations. Maybe one of the reasons for which they have become efficient because they don't have the vehicles. So the mere fact that they have bought vehicles does not constitute a misuse or misapplication of the funds. So we need to get to that bottom to see whether they needed those vehicles for purposes of operation, as they have stated. And if so, there was nothing wrong with buying vehicles. You need to retool the company. And it's only when it has the requisite tools, the very effective tools, that the company can now get back to its feet and operate effectively as we want it to do. Right. So we should not say that because they bought vehicles and you are facing financial challenges, why should you buy vehicles? No. The use and the need for the vehicle should be the yardstick for judging whether or not it was a prudent decision.
I'll come back to you on that point. Doc, well, now on this issue about salary cuts, the Pensions Act is clear. If you read, I think Article 66, if I'm correct, it says categorically that under no circumstance should salaries be cut such that it affects your contribution payment to the scheme. And so I don't know whether it is basic salaries, because they say salaries have been cut. That's why I said that they're using the terminology salaries is a bit vague, because in our context, allowances sometimes are even referred to as salaries. But if what they are going to do is eventually going to affect even their contribution towards pension, is that not an issue?
Of course, it's always your contribution towards a pension is always a percentage of what you take. I want to agree with my brother, Honorable Bongo, Charles, that there should have been a stakeholder engagement, without which management will have issues, and this should have been known and be open to the management. As much as it is a good response, or it appears that management is sensitive to the challenges coming up in the sector, it also undermines due process and the overall importance of stakeholder engagement that is necessary for organizational effectiveness and performance. So that said, I have seen some letters that the unions had written to management requesting for a meeting, and a response from management saying that the MD wasn't in the country and so the meeting should be deferred. This was dated 19th, so about 2 days ago. I understand
Randy is out of the country.
Yeah, to about 2 days ago. Whatever it is, both management and the unions are agreeing that there is a need for dialogue, conversation on this matter. And Kojo, you know, the cocoa sector is an important one in the development of our country and our whole economic conversation. The CDD report I referred to captured cocoa under economic restoration, sectoral transformation, and job creation. And I think at page 42 of their report, they say the good performances of the services sector, 8.8%, and agriculture, 6%, are driven by the digital and financial sectors, whilst agriculture is driven by stronger crop production and a rebound in cocoa. That is first. Next, they talk about what illegal mining activities are doing to destroy cocoa farms, which will have a damning effect on this economic picture that was put. And again, this is how they capture it. Over 19,000 hectares of cocoa farms destroyed, and national production halved from 1 million tons to 430,000 tons in 3 years. This is again the issue. And in conclusion, they say that Ghana faces an environmental catastrophe, 50 forest reserves invaded, rivers poisoned, cocoa production halved. The report has always tied cocoa to how our economy performs. And this is something known to all of us over the years. And it talks about the fact that there is a need to position cocoa and cocoa conversations in a proper context. That said, what are the issues that are bedeviling the cocoa sector now? Some of them are known to us, they've been researched, and they've been published. Yesterday, I had the privilege of meeting with my elder brother and good friend, Nana Amoama, who is also a cabinet member of the Otumfor's Kumasi team, who is a cocoa, if you like, expert, and has been MD of the cocoa processing company before, CPC. He used a term that cocoa is a free radical scavenger to antibiotics, toxins within our system, and that he had helped in processing some product that during the COVID period he used it and never had an issue with COVID. So cocoa is very important. We use it for soap, we use it for so many other things, cream, liquid, drink, food, and so on and so forth. But the point he was making was how we reduce cocoa conversation to needless political posturing. And I gleaned from his conversation that our leaders must be warned what initiatives we are taking that will make Ghana truly independent. He juxtaposed President Mahama's recent public conversation that we're going to keep 50% of our cocoa beans here to add value and make them more valuable and profitable to us, to what President Akufo-Addo said beyond aid and what they did in cocoa sector during that period. He said they're essentially the same. In fact, it's a continuation. Adding that governance being a continuum must be the order of the day and of good politics. At the end of the day, are we not seeking to build the same nation?
Fair.
And some of the communication, the things that are said to put somebody down and raise another, purchasing of cocoa, he said no regime, no government has used any of the methods stricto sensu, if it is forward purchasing or what they call spot buying, or even today that we say we are doing spot prices, we are doing some of the forward sales. And when the people in the past said they were doing more forward sales, it was 60 to 70% forward sales and 30 to 40% spot price. So, and none of these systems is foolproof, because there are international factors that we have no control over. The point is that the conversation must be more forward-looking than the way we are making it. And I talked about why our president should be careful about intentions. President Kufuor, let me go. President Kufuor, when he said Ghana beyond aid, the West wasn't happy. And I can tell you that President Mahama saying that we are going to keep 50% of our bees here, the West will not be happy. Because what it means is that it can cause shortage in the world market. It can also affect the growth of their economies.
Right.
And they will not give you the advantage to do that. And I go back to Kwame Nkrumah. When he started saying, we want a fully independent Ghana and Africa. They said, oh, that's what you want, we'll give it to you. His end came. Our leaders must, and recently what happened to Gaddafi when he was talking about Africa. So we intend to do good things. I would plead that we let our actions speak louder than our words. It's a caution that let's do more and let our works be the professors of what we intend and to do. And to conclude, the issues currently that are before us have to do with political promises made, catching up reality, or reality catching up with political promises made, and how we want to come out of it without admitting that certain things were said that ought not to have been said, or certain things were said that were said in excess.
Should not have been said that way.
You understand? For me, that is the whole matter here. And for those who are also thinking that it was done to us in the past, so we must also do it now, it is the same thing. It's counterproductive, because this political thing is a cycle. President Mahama, with all due respect, will not stay in power forever. Nobody. President Akufo-Addo came, he's gone. President Mahama came before him and left. Now he has come back. Nobody knows what the future holds. President Mills did not even finish his first term and was called by his maker. He had been handed over to by my father J. Kufuor. He had been handed over to by Mr. Rawlings. Of course, Mr. Rawlings handed over to himself from military leader to that after overthrowing the old man, my good friend Dr. Hila Liman. And it will go back and back and back to when we said we were no longer going to have anything with our colonial masters. What we need to accept is that the ideas that will build this country do not sit in your mind alone. They don't sit in the mind of my brother KWABENA here alone, even though we are all the same KWABENA, and we know that we are great and full of grace. It doesn't sit with us. Kwame, with all his godly name and this day being the day of the Lord, doesn't have all the wisdom. So are my two honorable members of parliament there. That's why they belong to different sides. So the lesson I want to push to Ghana is what stands best in the name of Usain Bolt. It was not when he ran alone in Germany, Berlin, in 2009 and made a record of 9.58 100-meter run, which is still the world record. That's not when he ran his best 100-meter race. It was the 4x100. It was the 4x100 in 3 years later at London, when he ran with his colleagues and they did 36.84. If you divide that at a split, each of them gets 9.21 seconds. Yeah. So the best in all of us in the collective is always better than the best in each of us. And Helen Keller says, alone you can do so little, together we can do so much. Thank you.
Honorable Juaben, in fact, it's as if Kabila knew the question I was going to ask you. At what point will we stop politicizing?
Please, before, and I want to say this, it's premature and unhealthy that we are calling for the head of Randiabi. It don't solve the problem. Is that the issue here? Is that the issue? Is it the issue? But the point is that for me,
I'm not even asking my question. It's like you have your answer already. You are not even waiting for my question.
I chipped that in.
No, respond to me.
No, I was going to respond before you did. Because the point is that Randy is maybe I'm more closer than Randy than maybe you.
I'm not personalizing.
I'm just saying that. And I don't know, but if you have heard me, I mean, my public discourse, you could see that I'm the most uncomfortable person
in your party.
I mean, in terms of having discussions like that.
Yeah.
So if you have even heard me before you came back, I was going to ask you, are we not going to talk about the Burkina Faso? No, but the point, but you have to continue. Yes, so I have my own issues. He's my brother. Yeah. I mean, he's my brother. You know, these are people who are my close friends, very, very, very close pals. That I can't even talk about them. Yes. But we are talking about politics. Yes.
So you can't comment on this. So you talk. Have we not gotten to the point where we need to end the partisan politicization of some of these things? Because in all this, the people suffering are not the NPP executives or NDC executives. It's the poor cocoa farmer. And then the children of the poor cocoa farmer, who probably might not grow into greatness because their parents could not afford A, B, C for them. At what point can we say that, look, it's okay, let's all come together and let's do what is collectively in the interest of the people?
I think this question should have been asked long ago.
I always ask.
And when NDC was in opposition, when they were gallivanting this country, I mean, making unnecessary promises, giving hope to the very vulnerable cocoa farmer who want to make more money from what he's getting. He or she thinks that he's not making enough. So then the NDC should have done this long ago. I mean, responded positively to this point that you are raising, that will not take us anywhere. You know, we are building a country called Ghana, and I've always said that if I become a prophet of doom, wishing the downfall of Ghana, I'm still part of this country. This is the only country I call my country, where I live, where I was born and bred, and I believe that that's my country. So the point is that it is absolutely unnecessary for any political party or any political group or any group of people to decide to use a particular institution of state whose patrons or whose players are very vulnerable to achieve an ultimate objective. That is not the best. Because clearly, what is important to us as Ghanaians and to opposition party, whose responsibility is to put pressure on government to do the need for right stuff in this country, is that cocoa farmers were being paid some money. And now, those monies, I mean, in terms of price of cocoa, has been reduced, which is unprecedented in the history of Ghana. In the 87 years Ghana has been in this regime, I mean, the cocoa production and cocoa, I mean, sales regime. It has never happened before. So then it becomes a worry to everybody, not only politicians or not only the opposition in parliament, but me as a member of Ghana or part of this country. So the point you are raising is very, very important. I guess now we all know the truth. The reality has on us now. Whether we like it or not, the political party that is ruling this country has poorly failed this country. They failed the people of Ghana. They failed the good people of the cocoa farmers. Cocoa communities, not only the farmers, but the stakeholders, those who are also there, the traders, who are not getting enough
the value chain. Right.
So it's a problem, and I truly and wholeheartedly believe that we have gotten to the time now. Ghana must shift the paradigm, whether we like it or not. We must move to a state where we see ourselves as not trying to use the downfall of one political party to achieve our own success. Then we will. So now look at the NDC. Sometimes when you play the videos, I was asking Honorable Reko in Parliament, my friend, that look at all the things that he said. I mean, His Excellency the President, look at the comment he made, that go and buy cocoa farms, go and buy farms and start planting cocoa, because cocoa prices are going to be very good. The President said that. To me, that is not too good, because the point is that you are giving hope. You are giving hope to somebody who, in his own self, may not believe that he has the capacity to even buy lands, so then he can only resort to going to borrow to go for this venture, and that may create problem for him. When you decide not to fulfill the promise you made, and that's a problem. And that's it. So the key problem here is not about whether Cocobod is buying vehicles, whether Cocobod is trying to rationalize, do staff rationalization, whether Cocobod has even the mandate or has conducted himself well. I'm talking about senior management
by reducing the salaries of workers. That's not the case. The case is that the irresponsibility on the part of those who made that comments, promises. I mean, clearly it was an irresponsible action. You gave hope, and you knew that you don't control the system, you don't control the space. Because I mean, the industry is being controlled by people. Now we are all praying. It's something the president has said. I mean, which is very good, and I support it. But going forward, 50% of the beans is going to stay in this country. That is good for all of us. But it's good. I mean, it's going to create a lot of opportunities for Ghanaians. You know that there are almost all the big cocoa processing companies in Ghana. You know, I have been the CEO of Ghana Free Zones before. So almost all of them are foreign businesses here. So I always say that in my tenure as the CEO of Ghana Free Zones, I used to say that what I want to capacitate the strength of local, entrepreneurs. Give them the strength to become big boys, so that when these people decide to even exit the country, we still have the capacity. Ghanaians will have the capacity to acquire these businesses that are on this soil. These are big businesses, huge investments that are operating in this country. And to also interest you to note that almost all the cocoa processing companies are processing cocoa from the first stage to last but one stage and export 100% to other jurisdictions. Right. So the key point here, and which is very important, is not the capping of salaries. It is not the purchasing of vehicles for operational duties. It is not empowering other people. It is not the spendings because it's a corporate body. They have to spend. They don't have a choice. They have to pay bills. The business is running, but it is the irresponsibility on the part of politicians who knew that they don't have control over the cocoa space. They don't control. Well, if you tend to believe, when President Gov't was in power, then he gave up to 3,100 cedis per bag. At that time, cocoa prices in the world market was not going up, was not soaring. Right. It was declining, but they did the right thing. They did the deal, because over the period, the 87 years Ghana has been in this regime, no political party has ever reduced. The best they can do is not to even touch the price. Keep it as it is. And this one, it is serious. That is why the minority in parliament believe that the government must be put under strict check. Right. We cannot allow this. All bit they are claiming. Per the write-up that came from my brother Randy, that the monies that are being used to purchase this capital or to acquire these capital items are not monies for the cocoa farmers. But how can you say this? How can you say this? You can't be management. No, you are in the business of the cocoa. Simple. Whatever money that comes in is coming from the cocoa farmer, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. So let me end. I'm just ending by that. Going forward from this table, from my Bongo friend here to this young man, Vanto man, and this young nice man here, academicians and lawyers. So that we should all BRAKO-POWERS. We should all, going forward, we should all see Ghana as our own. This is what we want to do together. Build a country called Ghana for ourselves and for the future of our children. Not thinking about our political parties. Because the political party will lose elections one day. Yes. As it's going to happen in the 2020. And when you lose elections,
that's not going to happen.
Prophet or Kwame.
Prophet of doom.
Yesterday we heard that some cocoa farmers, or some people saying they are cocoa farmers. No, they are cocoa. Let me put on record, please. No, for me, I can't. None of them carry their farms. Let me give you information, please. Okay. I was there. I left. Look at my eyes. Yes. So they put it well. They are sharing water, so you can go. I'm telling you, these people, all of them left there by 12 midnight. Nobody was there. Okay. I left there around 11:45 when they were moving. We had buses for them to go back to Facie. Those they were back. Those who went there to help them. So the problem, because they came from Facie, so they said like people are circulating this falsehood that these people are not cocoa farmers. They are cocoa farmers. So I am not circulating. So I'm telling you that they are cocoa farmers. All I'm saying is that
not independently.
Somebody can come. I can say for a fact that you're a member of parliament because I know.
None of them carry their farms here. So these people are saying their farms. Yes. So these are
maybe they claim to be farmers.
Yes, that's the point I'm making.
But you didn't say that.
No, I said individuals who claim to be farmers.
But you see, sometimes the problem is that we assume that if somebody does politics or someone is into politics, the person cannot
even do any other business.
Because of what politicians do. What did you go to do there? You yourself.
You should have let them do their
He's a farmer. He's a farmer.
He's a farmer.
You're part. Okay, I didn't know.
The president.
So put it on record.
Okay, Kwame.
Okay, I'm a farmer.
So
I do coconut. I do cocoa.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
So you want them to demonstrate?
Yes.
Please,
Kwame. So these people.
Get to show solidarity. That's all.
These people picketed here to demonstrate their frustration. But the truth of the matter is that, as it stands today, there is nothing that can be done to the prices. The president has given the way forward. Was this picketing really necessary?
Well, I think that every human being is at liberty to demonstrate. You know, it's a constitutional right. You have to demonstrate if you are displeased about something. The question is what the demonstration, seeks to achieve is what is relevant. I think that all of us here on this table have agreed that there's some, I don't know whether I should describe it as sudden deterioration of the performance of Cocobod, but I think that others will say that it's perennial, something that all governments have inherited over the period, and it is not in doubt that Cocobod is really struggling. Now, again, it is also not in doubt that there's some, I don't know whether it is because of the unforeseen circumstances which have plagued Cocobod, which is why we are seeing it. But there's some gap in strategic management, and in the way that the occupiers of the office of, the manager of Cocobod are handling these matters. And I'll be very, very candid with you, because it has got everything to do with strategic communication and PR. How are you interfacing with the people who are affected? How are you speaking to them? How are you explaining things to them? It's very, very important.
Who are your gatekeepers?
Who are your gatekeepers?
Who are you using to reach?
What is the relationship between the managers of Cocobod and the farmers? Even within the entire circle, senior small buyer, you said we call it something called CMC, right? CPC. What is the relationship between the management of Cocobod and CPC? What's the relationship? You get the point? Because all of us admit that there are issues. So if we have admitted that there are issues, how do we resolve them? And all of these people are very important in that equation. You cannot exclude them in that conversation. So if you sit in your ivory tower and you independently take decisions, which decisions would ultimately affect the people who are players in that sector, then you are doing yourself a great disservice.
In development management, there's a course called development communication, which teaches on how to involve all stakeholders even before projects are done. And for me, even nobody can tell me that this thing took Cocobod by surprise.
Exactly.
So if you knew from day one what communication has been done with the opinion leaders, the farmer groups, so that we don't even get here.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So of course we saw some videos of Randy going around,
the media,
engaging the farmers and things. But I don't know what the engagement was about, because if the engagement went down to the people and they understood what the engagement was, I'm not sure we'd get to this point. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The picketing is just to, first of all, express their frustration. And secondly, to say that, government, you have deceived us. That you said we're going to do A, B, C, D. We've given you the opportunity. You didn't do that.
You are giving us the opposite.
You are giving us the opposite. So then, what is the explanation for your inability to fulfill your obligation to us? I think that is simplicity. That's what it's about. So now, the responsibility or the onus now shifts to government to come, or to Cocobod really, but by extension government, to come and now explain and give very cogent reasons to the demonstrators as to why we are here and how they intend to resolve it. I can agree that there are some reforms which they have indicated to us that they are going to implement. But those reforms, in my respectful opinion, should have factored into the designing of it, the farmers, and then the, is this CMC or CPC?
CMC is the marketing. So they are the trading.
Because if you have read the reforms, I don't know how the reforms came about. I'll be very honest with you. Because you see, in an enterprise such as Cocobod or Cocoa Enterprise, the people who are most important are the farmers. So you need to engage the farmers at all material times to pick their brain on what ought to be done for their own benefit. For they know better than you. It's like going to the market and advising the market woman how to do their business. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I think that the management of Cocobod failed in engaging the active players in the sector. That's a fact.
Right.
And let nobody embellish it. That's the reality, is that they failed to do that. And the reality is also that, I know I've heard, this is just being conjecture. There are some internal disagreements, even within the architecture of Cocobod. I've heard. I've not independently verified, but that is what I have heard. If that is true, then it's problematic. Because you see, when you are given an opportunity to serve in any institution, there are the people we call the old dogs. They understand the nuances, the nitty-gritties of that particular institution. And when you go, you find a way of working with these people.
Right.
You find a way of ensuring that your ego does not come into play when you are engaging these people. Because they understand it. They can mess you up. I am saying that the plummeting of the prices, in my respectful opinion, is something that perhaps was known to the people who are there. I'm sure they would have. They knew the experienced people. They knew that this time around, if you're not careful, the prices will plummet. So let's sell. Let's do this. You engage. But if you go and maybe you act as though you are the sole repository of knowledge and you want to reset, of course reset is good, but you cannot reset without carrying the people along. Finally,
and make that final for me.
I'm respectfully going to do that. You see, this salary cut, the question is, how will the salary cut aid in the resolution of Cocobod challenges? How does that solve any problem? Because what you have done is that you have actually also compounded your problems. You are now having to deal with the farmers and also having to deal with your employees. How can you possibly, handle that? So I'm saying that it is more of strategic mismanagement of the situation.
Right.
And Cocobod's inability to properly, strategically communicate with all the active players in that sector, which is why we are here. I want to now say that I urge Dr. Randiabe, because of course, and I want to join my big brother in saying that it is too early to call for his head. But even though we are advocating for him, he must also listen and jojo and reach out. Okay. So that the company will work and benefit.
I saw my brother Honorable BAWA-DUA
for the first time.
I have one more topic to just speak on the tomato issue, but this, everybody is talking about the reforms. Government is talking about the reforms. we heard that there was an emergency cabinet meeting.
Yes.
So emergency means that it was not planned.
Yes, it was.
Then the people go into the meeting and they take a decision at an emergency cabinet, which is supposed to be the long-term plan, which supposes or gives an indication that is this a well thought through plan? Decide, like, because Kabila gave an indication. You even coming out to say that 50% will be processed here. Has a replicating effect outside the shores of this country. Do you think, I mean, and this is not the first, we've taken decisions, nobody should buy shoes from outside for the military, we saw where it ended and all those decisions. Do you think this so-called reforms can stand the test of time? Please do this quick for me.
The thing is that reforms are good. In fact, they help to strengthen the system. I support this reform, but I begin to ask myself, were the farmers consulted?
The chief farmer was there.
Stakeholder engagement.
Is it the chief farmer? So the farmers, I'm talking about the direct farmers, those who will be affected by these reforms. Were they consulted? And you were articulated. This was just something like a midnight decision, even though it was necessary. But you know, when you you mentioned development communication, you must start from the ground up. But this looks like a top-down approach, which is why we are where we are, because the farmers are not happy. The decision to reduce the farm gate price from 58,000 cedis to where we have, I think the farmers should have been consulted. Even though I agree that we should reduce the farm gate price, because today, if you check the IFC markets, the cocoa is trading between $3,000 to $3,500 per ton. After dropping from over $10,000, over $10,000. So it is no longer sustainable to be paying 58,000 cedis for a farm gate price for cocoa per ton, which is why I agree that the reduction was necessary, but it was supposed to have been done in consultation with the farmers. But beyond that, it is important for the government to understand that the farmers have an accrued right. The beans that they sold to Cocobod, that is the beans the LBCs bought, which has been given to Cocobod, they must pay the 58,000 cedis farm gate price, because that's an accrued right. The reduction should not affect what they had sold to you.
I think that's the case.
And no, so it should be the basis. Now, the thing is that this is not a scandal. You see, this is not a scandal. And I've heard many, some senior officials in the opposition New Patriotic Party trying to make a scandal out of this. This is not a scandal. This is a major problem that we have to deal with as a country.
It's a crisis.
You get it? It's either we deal with this issue today or we deal with it tomorrow. And it is better we deal with it today because the issue has come up. And I've also heard many try to rope in the deputy CEO in charge of, administration, finance and administration, Atobuati, because of his company, Atlas Commodities. I'm coming. I'm saying I've heard people try to rope in that conversation.
Someone has petitioned Shraj.
You see, let's
a waste of time.
You see, let's I'm raising this because I think we are trying to, distract the conversation. In fact, we are trying to dilute the conversation.
The importance of it.
Because we have a major issue to address. Let's not be dealing with some of this petty partisan politics.
It's not even true. The thing is not even true.
No, if you're honorable, granted it is true that he owns Atlas Commodities.
Used to.
Does it mean that if I have a company, or if I am running a company, let's say I was running a company in 2016, and I've been given an appointment in 2026. Are you saying that?
And I've resigned.
And I've resigned from the company. Are you saying that the company I've been appointed to head cannot deal with my previous company? What kind of analogy is this? Let us be able to make progress. And there's one thing I also find troubling. Cocobod has not been consistent in its communication. Cocobod, headed by Dr. Randiabi, has not been consistent, and that is affecting the conversation. You hear the PRO say one thing, you hear another person say another thing, you hear Randiabi say another thing. Consistent communication. If you have dealt with crisis management, you know that consistent communication is very important.
True.
They are saying so many disparate things, and it is affecting the conversation.
Gentlemen, your microphones are on.
And it's affecting the conversation. Then, Kojo.
Your last one.
My last point.
I beg you. I know.
But I'm saying he has a whole. I'm telling you, Doc. So, Kojo, the pay cuts. I think this is a populist approach.
Yeah.
It's a populist approach.
That I agree.
It's needless. It's needless. It's a populist approach. Because you see, like Kwame said and Doc has hinted, you are having to deal with now your own employees because of this. I see you.
People say you are doing kojo before I realize this.
Kojo. Okay.
and that's why it ended.
I mean, just because you mentioned this issue about the free zones, why are we still importing tomatoes and going all the way to the northern part of Burkina
Faso? These people who have been doing this trading has been doing the trading since they were young people.
Yes.
Even if we have enough here, they will still go. It will also interest you to note that when the thing happened, you know, my concern about
Bongo is shaking his.
Two of my constituents
I disagree.
were involved.
Oh,
and there's
wow.
Yes,
one involved in the 7 of the rescued.
The one survived. One died.
Wow.
So you always see me at the hospital 7 hospital. As a matter of fact, I am now always with her at the hospital. And the truth of the matter is that if I had not gone, another batch or some of the people were about to go when the thing happened day after. That's how serious the thing has become. And have written officially to the president, I'll submit it on Monday, that we have to look at this again. Thankfully today we are going to do the new bail for GIPA. Now it's going to be an authority. So from here I'm just going to
continue. So it's going to GIPA now?
Yes.
Okay.
We are going to work on it. And one of the key things that I want us to emphasize and continue to do is trying to attract investment. I have a lot of pictures that I can also go.
I will write anything, you say anything.
Investments in the area of large-scale vegetable farming, attracting both local and foreign investment in this area. You know, President Akufo-Addo intentionally did something when I was a deputy minister. We went to Dangote when we were struggling with communal sugar factory. We knew, it was something that everyone knew, that Dangote has sugar factories. So the president we went to him intentionally to encourage him to come to Ghana to help invest. Either to invest or to take over this business. Then he said, yes, he's ready. I can tell you, I can announce to you that he bought 25,000 hectares of land at Tebubu. Now he's waiting for the sugar bill to come to parliament, then they can start set off. Okay. The point I want to make to us is that over the years, Ghana has not done well in the area of tomato cultivation. We have only been doing it half year. I mean, these people, that's even in the Saharan region, they do it yearly, all year round. Yes. So these Ghanaians find it very easy to go there to buy and also to get it more cheaper and also to accessibility is another point. And they forget about the risk involved. That's the seriousness of the issue. And for me, I blame three people. This mess. I've said it everywhere that I spoke. I've been talking, one man crusader. I've been issuing statements and talking on radio. The first person who's responsible is the president of the country, called His Excellency President Mahama. He's the first person.
Number two.
The first point. Second.
No, you should tell us how it is.
Foreign Affairs Minister.
The third is the Minister for
National Affairs. Why?
President, but for the fact that Dr. Ibn Chambers served in the Secretariat for a very long time. President Mahama would have been the president of chairman of ECOWAS now. You know that. Yes. Now he's given the chairperson. He would have been the chairman of ECOWAS. Now this is the first time in the history of ECOWAS when this bloc came, this small custom bloc and also political bloc came, that one member we have taken a decision to suspend people who have misbehaved or coup makers or coupists. These three coupists have been suspended by ECOWAS. And instead of President Mahama supporting, the strength of ECOWAS power, President Mahama decided to even support them somehow by appointing, when they decided to rebel against ECOWAS.
The Sahelian representative.
By appointing Popularity to become the the special envoy of the president to Sahel Alliance.
Yeah.
Very disrespectful to ECOWAS.
But they even came to a swearing in. One of them came at least.
Right, you are a journalist. I'm telling you this in confidence. Write through our RTI to the Justice Security Ministry and find out NDC and NPP, which of these two political government parties form government has helped Burkina Faso. We helped Burkina Faso. Go and check. But we pretended we were fighting with them in the face. I mean, the optics. Because of these people, the terrorists around, they always see things differently.
The Wagner group.
And anytime you start to show so much care to the Burkina Faso government,
you become their target.
That's what has happened. So now our citizens have become target of these terrorists.
Go to the next person.
The next person Honorable Blacka is the Foreign Affairs Minister. Foreign Affairs Minister, you are supposed to know that we have issues there. Yeah. At least issue an advisory. He has never done anything like that. We have done, we signed a lot of accords. So we know that there are terrorist group around that side. You know that people go to trade through ECOWAS trading protocols. ETLS, what to call in trading, what we call ETLS. You are supposed to be protected, but not to be attacked by terrorists and jihadists. But Honorable OKYERE has slept on the job. He didn't issue advisory. He didn't even issue a statement. So now these people are at risk. They didn't know when the third person, because of time, is Honorable Mubarak, Minister for National Security. All the Minister for National Security too.
Yeah. He's performing the role of national security.
Yes. So all the border posts, the London, all of them, they have national security officials there. What do they do there? Go there and see. I'm the ranking member, so I know what I'm talking about. We have customs people there. We have immigration people there. We have national security people. What do they do?
And NIB.
They are supposed to check and make sure that what they're going to do will be good for you, successful. You will not have any serious issues. They allow these people to pass and go because they have been passing every day and they don't die. So these 18 people were in a car, this bus track at risk. Go and see the guy, the guy. He was shot on the head 3 times here and 5 times at the back. They thought he was dead. My point is that how can these 3 people behave like that? And so that's why I filed and I did an immediate statement in Parliament. And the immediate statement I did in Parliament, I said that I'm calling for a parliamentary inquiry to this, to the responses, to the incompetent responses of the ministers in question. Clearly, they have shown irresponsibility. They didn't perform their duties well. What are we looking for? We are looking for ministers who will be responsible, especially the Foreign Affairs Minister. Tomorrow, I'm writing that thing to him. I want to find out those Ghanaians who have been buried. They buried them. There was a mass barrier. You see the Yaya there. You see one. Yeah. You don't have the picture. I was saying the Yaya. There is the Yaya, the lady from Kofodia. They couldn't mention the Yaya. So they used only the first name because they didn't have the Ghana card. So they used only the first names. So they have been buried in somebody's land through people's irresponsibility. Right. We are calling for the government to assume, go to them and talk. We want to get our bodies to bury them, especially Ukufudempo. We are royals. We want to bury our people in Kofodia. And I'm going to fight it on the ground to make sure that the government sit up. Please, we don't need to bury. No, because the point is that we cannot sit down for people to misbehave like that and just go scot free. I'm done. Thank you.
No, you've closed the program.
So you give us the opportunity to say something.
It's a good emotional.
Hold on. Have I said anything bad?
I have 3 minutes to close. It's only fair that I give you. Why is it only fair that you give?
You have to give all of 1 minute. Let the vote finish.
That I give you 1 minute out of the 3 and one. So you see, I just want to address the allegations he has made against the president and OKYERE. 1, it is not the president's relationship with Burkina or otherwise which caused this. You know what? The president ought to ensure that there's a good neighborliness between Burkina and Ghana. For those of us who share, my constituency shares boundary with.
You don't share the boundary.
Direct boundary.
You don't share by direct.
No. You know Bongo. Bongo shares direct boundary.
You don't share. Your constituency doesn't share.
My constituency. No. My constituency. You see, we are speaking to the public. I'm very factual. I have two borders. I have the Namor border going into Burkina Faso. I also have no. Let me make.
That's why I'm talking.
You are making him the You see, so we need to have a good neighbor day in, day out. Burkinabe's cross into Ghana and Ghanaians cross into Burkinabe. Before this relationship was created, there was always a heavy military presence around the Burkinabe border. And so it was difficult even for traders in Ghana who do a lot of their trading in the Burkinabe neighboring market to cross there. It's affected their business. So it was important to create a situation where businesses could continue to go whilst ECOWAS sought a solution to the problem. So this had nothing to do with what caused the attack. Now let's look at the attack. The attack is because the jihadists are fighting secular states. They want to establish a military state, an Islamic state. So they are fighting every secular state. So it is immaterial where you were Ghanaians, even if they were Ivorians or Togolese, they would have attacked them. Because please.
It's not true.
No, please.
Are you reading out the background? Privy to this information.
Honorable, continue.
You see, so I'm not doing politics.
Continue.
So the traders went too far. The truth of the matter is that the jihadists have now come further to Burkina Faso and taken more land than they were. So where the traders used to get to, it is no longer safe to get to those places. So that is why I think that they should have had some information regarding the current state.
You are agreeing with
no.
Intelligence. Intelligence.
I am analyzing this thing objectively.
Yes.
You are not. You see, no. Please.
We are listening.
Yes. You see, so if you go further than where you should have gone to, you are susceptible to these attacks. They are attacking Burkinabe soldiers. They are attacking even churches. Are churches also doing politics? But because they are attacking the secular states to establish an Islamic state. So anybody who goes there, you are not an Islamic person in their sect. You are a subject matter of attack.
So all you are saying that somebody ought to have informed them at the border that you can go this far and no enter into this zone. Basically,
what I'm saying is that the area of danger has not come further
and
than it used to be.
Yes.
And it continues to come further because it appears that the Burkinabe military is not able to control their border. So what do? That is why we need to establish the farm, tomato farms and all that here. And he said that even if we increase tomato production in this country, it will not.
Thank you very much.
Actually.
Because you have very much here. There's no way they will go there.
Okay, I understand that my team said they will give me a few minutes for the three of
So Kwame has seated.
Kwame, you seated your time.
I'm not.
The thing is, is it?
When you shake your head like that, it means you are going to.
Burkina Faso has been a dangerous territory. In fact, it didn't start today. So when I'm told that the insurgent group is now moving downwards, it's not a new development. We knew this. Don't forget, during the 8-year rule of President Nana Dankwa, there were terrorist attacks in Burkina Faso where we had major concerns. Do you understand? So this we should rather blame our intelligence gathering institutions for failing the country, because they were supposed to have known what was going on, but they didn't know. And you see, so it's an unfortunate development, one which requires more answers than we have been given. We want the president and the national security minister to be telling us more.
So 2 out of the 3, Doc.
Or just to take it from what my brother said, or maybe they knew but failed to take the right steps to preempt that. One of the strategies would be either to pull out, or if the people were going to go, you were assigned envoy, or what do you call it, escort for them. Or even plant people who are armed within them. But that said, I think there's a need for us to look at this in terms of the geopolitics. It is not only the jihadists that are operating in Burkina. We have the Wagner Group.
Yes, the Wagner Group too is there.
Which is, and I don't think that anybody can identify me as a Christian. No, by looking at me or by the kind of car I drive. So I want to reject the suggestion by my brother Charles, Bongo MP, Honorable, that just on the face of it they will shoot at you. There must be something, and that's where.
Did you listen to what the trainer said?
Thank you.
When they started shooting.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We are ending. We have this discussion when we close, but they can't hear you. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you to Dr. KWABENA, BOMFEH. Honorable. Thank you. If I'm the speaker, I'll tell you are out of order. Thank you to Dr. KWABENA, BOMFEH, to KWAME, OWUSU, DANSO, to Austin KWABENA, BRAKO-POWERS, to Charles BAWA-DUA, and to Michael Ochre BAAFI. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you same time next week. Bye-bye.